Our buddy just picked up a work truck on Facebook Marketplace, and the service history on it, well, it's a little bit hazy. The truck is an 03 LB7 Duramax with over 250,000 miles. Let's go check it out. This truck is gonna be getting the full Docks arsenal. That means we're gonna be throwing everything we can at it from the product line: an oil change, transmission fluid exchange, fuel filter, air filter, and even some Docks E-coated hubs. For replacing the air filter, first thing you wanna do is remove the 4 screws on the airbox lid. With our 4 screws removed, we can just hinge up the airbox lid, see what they got in here. Look at how dirty this filter is. We got a bunch of buildup through here, all gummed up. Look at that. It's time for a new filter. With your old filter out, it's time to bring out your Docks Diesel Premium air filter and just slide that new filter in. Then just go ahead and retighten those 4 screws. And just like that, now your engine is breathing easy. With the air filter done, it's time to tackle the oil change. Let's get this truck lifted in the air and get going. All right, now that we're gonna be up under the truck, you wanna locate your drain bolt. Ours is right here, it's 13 millimeter. Pop it on, crack it loose. Oil is about done draining. We're just gonna cap this guy off because it'll drain forever otherwise. All right, now that the pan has been drained, retighten the plug. Gotta get this oil filter off. This thing's been on here a while. Sometimes it can get really stuck. So let's see if we can get up in here. Yeah, that is on there. For when I can't get these off by hand, it's really nice to have the Docks Diesel adjustable filter removal tool. It's really nice, fits a bunch of different sizes of filters. So hopefully we can just pop this guy up here, give it a little squeeze. Look at that, nice and easy. Old filter is off. Let's grab our new Docks Diesel Premium Oil Filter. While we're under here, we're also going to tackle the transmission filters. We've got 2. We've got 1 external, we've got 1 internal inside the pan, which means we have to drain the fluid and drop the pan. Let's start by draining the transmission fluid. We got a 15 millimeter socket here that's going to go on our drain plug. Let's just crack that loose. All right, the transmission is drained. It's time to plug it back up and remove the external trans filter. All right, we've got the old transmission filter out. Let's take a look at this new one we have here from Docks. Let's open it up, get it prepped to go on. All right, you wanna make sure to remember to lubricate your new gasket. Helps from getting stuck the next time you have to replace it. Just makes the whole process that much smoother. We'll just tighten that one hand until she's nice and snug. Now it's time to remove the transmission pan. We've got a bunch of 13 millimeter bolts up here that we're gonna remove using this impact, and the pan should come right off. All right, we're down to our last bolt. I'm just gonna back it halfway out and make sure I can get this pan loose. I'm gonna support it and remove the last bolt. Removing this filter is pretty easy. It's just a press in, so you're gonna grab it, give her a little wiggle, and she should just come right off. There's gonna be a little extra fluid that comes out when you remove that. Make sure you've got your drain pan underneath and drain the rest of the fluid out of that filter. Look at all that. One tricky thing about these transmissions, when you're pulling off the internal filter, you wanna make sure that your gasket comes out up here. And if that orange gasket is still stuck in there, you're gonna wanna remove that before putting in your new filter. So now, let's go ahead and pop in the new filter. Now it's time to clean up the mating surface on the transmission to get ready to install the new gasket that comes with the Docks kit. We've put our gasket on our transmission pan. It's time to put it back on the transmission. So we'll lay a couple bolts through here to hold everything just kind of together with the gasket. All right, now they're all lined up. We've got 2 bolts holding this on. We're just gonna put all these bolts in hand tight to start before we start our torque sequence. All right, you wanna torque these bolts down to 18 foot-pounds. No more, no less. All right, and just like that, the pan is back on. Now we're gonna go get on top of the truck and we're gonna fill it back up with oil and transmission fluid. It's time to fill the engine oil. This is gonna take 10 quarts of our Dox 15W40. Let's put it in. Now it's time to fill the transmission fluid. You're gonna wanna pull the transmission dipstick from up here in the engine bay, put in a skinny funnel like this, and fill it with 10 to 12 quarts of transmission fluid. We're gonna be filling this up with Dex 6 by Dox Diesel. All right, now that you're all topped off with transmission fluid, it's time to go start the truck and let it get up to operating temperature. Then you're gonna wanna shift it through all the gears and come out, check the dipstick, and top off as needed. Now that we're done with the transmission, it's time to move on to the fuel filter. To access the fuel filter, you need to remove the fender liner from the inside of this wheel well. You'll notice here that there's a series of different clips and push pins to remove the fender liner. All right, looking in here, found our fuel filter. Notice we've got a plug here, a drain here. First thing you're gonna do is unplug this and drain the fuel out of here. Now we're gonna go ahead and swap this sensor from the old filter onto our new filter. Don't forget to change over your old O-ring for the O-ring that comes in the new kit. All right, in with the new filter. Don't forget to plug in your sensor. There we go. Now that the fuel filter is installed, you want to make sure to prime the system. There is a button on top of that housing. It's going to be easiest to access this button from the top of the vehicle. And then your truck should start right up. Last but not least, it's time to install our Dox E-coated hubs. First thing you're going to want to do is remove the wheel. Now we're going to remove the caliper. We got 2 bolts here and here. Rattle these guys off. All right, before we go ahead and remove the old hub here from the vehicle, we have to remember to take off the axle nut. So we need to remove this cover here. So thankfully, it looks like the axle isn't seized. We're pushing on it here with our thumbs. Slides right in and out, perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and break loose the 4 15mm bolts on the backside. And out she goes. Look at that. This is a hub with 250,000 miles on it. So right now we're just taking some high grit sandpaper and we're just sanding down some of the rust and buildup that came over the years. Just give us a better mating surface. All right, time to install the new hub. First, we're gonna put on our dust shield. You wanna make sure that this sensor is pointed up. It's almost on there. Just one last push. Up she goes. We're gonna grab one of our bolts, push this up in here. So for these hubs, when you're putting in the bolts, you're gonna make sure you use a little bit of blue Loctite on there just to make sure nothing backs out. It takes a little bit of finessing to get it all lined up correctly, but once you get one in, the other 3, it's a little bit easier. All right, the hubs are on. Now we're gonna thread this nut back on our axle and just reinstall everything back in the reverse order. Torque specs will be on the screen. Well, that is it. This Facebook Marketplace find is back on the road and they can ride with confidence. We did the oil change, transmission fluid change. We also did the air filter, fuel filter, as well as a new fresh set of Dox E-coated hubs. For all your diesel needs, make sure you check us out at doxdiesel.com.